Hi, everyone. My name is Erin Elizabeth Weinberg. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you are new here. Today, we're talking about why time by itself doesn't heal all. So time is definitely a magical, mystical thing here on Earth, linear time, the effects that time just adding up and passing. There's nothing that can do what the passing of time can do. There's nothing that can replace time going by in terms of working towards a goal, something happening, investment in something, commitment to something. All that is definitely real. But a lot of us have heard the phrase, it's very common to hear the phrase, time heals all. And that's something that is, again, can be true, definitely is true, but isn't necessarily true by itself. And so that's kind of what I want to break down today around that topic. So one example where we can see this, where time doesn't heal just by itself, think about you or someone you know, because maybe I'm sure you've never done this, just like I've never done it, right? Okay, but just think about a time where someone or something is mentioned from the past, and usually it's like a painful experience or a situation that didn't feel the best or wasn't, you don't have the greatest memories associated with it, right? Or this person you're thinking about, right? So maybe not you, but just think about that situation. And then immediately the entire energy of that person like shifts and they become mad, they become sad, they feel ashamed. They just like totally go back in time, it seems like, to that exact moment in an instant, just thinking about it, just remembering that situation. Again, no matter how long it's been, but just something where that person, that situation is mentioned, and then there's a total shift back, like feels like a time travel, like right back to that time and space. And so that's an example of, it could have been a month went by, a year went by, 5 years went by, 10 years went by, something happened. And that's because the memory is still there, but the emotional charge hasn't been dealt with, right? And so this, of course, can happen for like more positive memories or things that we want to remember, we want to think about, right? When you think about a time you shared with someone you love and care about, or a happy memory in your life, right? That's all great. So this is the same concept. You can go back and really embody that energy and really feel what that feels like and channel that. But for this, when we're talking about a situation that didn't feel the best, that maybe there isn't the greatest memories associated with it, all of that, what's happening here is because time has passed, but the emotional and healing work hasn't been done. So maybe that person, and there's no judgment, right? We all do this. We can only do the best we can with what we have at the time. We can only move at the pace we can move at. But in this situation in particular, we're talking about, there was this thing that happened, and then, some time went by, and I was like, okay, well, time heals all, so no problem. But there is a problem, because unless, again, we're doing the emotional and healing work to feel the feelings, clear the feelings, heal the intense emotion associated with it, whatever, that's why time by itself doesn't heal, because those things can become frozen, and then they can just continue to dictate our space and our time and our energy unless we are able to kind of process those emotions and move them. It's like a freezing of a moment in time. And so again, you can let all the time in the world go by, right? Say like, okay, well, in 6 months, I'm going to be over this, or in a year, I'm going to be over this, or in 2 years, I'm going to be over this, right? But if you aren't working to change your patterns, take responsibility for yourself, not that the situation was your fault, we're never saying that, but just knowing, again, what stories am I telling myself about because of this situation, or what am I making real because of this situation, or how am I seeing myself in a way that's not the best because of the situation, right? So taking responsibility for yourself for the things that are your responsibility, forgiving yourself, forgiving other people, releasing resentments, atoning if that's something that's part of it for you, being better, choosing to be healthier, choosing to show up in a different way than this, whatever it is. If you're not doing that, then time by itself cannot heal. And so again, that's why people can say like, okay, well, in 6 months, I'm going to be over this breakup, or over this fight, or over leaving this job, or over this, experience that wasn't the best thing that came up for me. But all that time goes by, and like maybe they just put it in like a little box in their mind, and didn't look at it. And then you're like, okay, I should be over by now. And then you're not. Well, it's because you haven't touched it or looked at it or done anything, right? And so again, this is really understanding like time is definitely, like I said in the beginning, it's like very helpful tool. It's very important. It's definitely a necessary part of the healing process. But just letting time by itself do something for you isn't going to heal it automatically. Sometimes it can, right? This is a minor thing, but we're talking about here with like large intense emotional situations in our lives that, again, just seem a little like we just can't deal with them, just by letting the passage of time go. So again, when this happens, you can ask yourself, like, what is so painful about this? What does it mean about me? A lot of these things, especially that don't heal with time, are like betrayal wounds or shock or, just very painful, like someone, unrequited love, and not just in a way about like, oh, I'm interested in this person, they're not interested in me back. That can be like, you put this time and energy and effort into a relationship, and then it could be romantic or platonic, and then the person just doesn't reciprocate anymore. They decide they want something different. Attachment to a certain outcome that didn't happen, again, after like a lot of personal investment. So, it's unlimited. There's no judgment on where the wounding comes from. But unless you're looking at why did this happen and what's my role in it? What's the pain in here? What do I need to release in order to move forward? Time by itself isn't just gonna heal everything for you if you aren't doing that work within yourself. And then the other side of that is, I will say, there are some things that we definitely need time, and we can't begin to look at them or touch them or heal them until some time has gone by. Okay. So if you're someone who is committed to your healing process, who is committed to wanting to grow and have self-growth and continue to expand on the soul level, sometimes, we do need just 6 months to not even look at that situation because it's so painful, right? The first step in the grieving process is denial. So sometimes we just need time to like be in our denial stage, and that's no judgment, right? But so the other side of this, besides time by itself not healing, is if you're someone who like is like, okay, I'm ready to heal, I'm ready to do this, I'm ready to get it over with, and you're just like intellectualizing that, you still have to allow time to take the time it needs to take. And you still have to give yourself, you don't have to, but my suggestion is you should give yourself some grace and compassion as you're working on your healing process, and knowing that, it's easy to forget, but time takes time. And as much as we can't rush through or speed up a healing process. We can't make ourselves, feel the feelings faster or have the epiphanies faster or understand why these things are happening in this way faster, right? We can't do any of that. So this is just, again, it's important for us to make time or to remember that making time for it means we don't control the timing of how long something takes, right? So again, you can't make things go faster, but it is very, like I said in the beginning, there is nothing that the passage of time can do, or there's nothing that can do what the passing of time can do. And so, sometimes we can't even look at something, or, sometimes it takes this amount of time to work through something, just because that's the time it takes. And so letting go of the attachment to, well, I've been working on this for, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, there's certain things that just take the time they take. And it's about being compassionate to yourself. And sometimes if something takes a very long time, that's just a clue for us to give ourselves more compassion and more understanding and more grace, instead of forcing this timeline on ourselves of, why didn't you heal yet? Why didn't you get this yet? Why don't you understand this yet? Right? So being patient, and allowing time to take the time it takes as like this magical, important tool in the healing process is definitely there. So there's two sides to this, but the first point is, again, that like time by itself will not just magically heal everything. We still have to do our work. We still have to show up. But if you are doing that, just remembering, like, you don't need to beat yourself up. You don't need to judge yourself if time is taking a little more time than you would like, right? That's part of the process. And so, just looking at where you are in the scale and knowing that sometimes you need to be, doing a little bit more of your own work. And sometimes you need to be like, this is the best I'm doing at the time. I'm doing everything that's in my power to do, and I can't force it. So I just need to like relax and let go a little bit. Because again, just remember, time is only one ingredient in the beautiful recipe we have of healing, right? There is all different healing tools, different healing modalities, whatever works for you, of course, but it is important for you to understand that time by itself is just one of those components. And if you just don't do anything at all besides let time go by, besides, again, the process, if you need a little bit of space from the incident, of course, totally allowed. But if you're just relying on time alone, sometimes that can heal certain things. But if it's a big wound, a big upset, time by itself passing might not be the only tool, the only ingredient you need. Okay, that's everything I have for you. I hope this served you. If you ever want any more information about me, all of that is linked below. Thank you so much for choosing to be here, and I hope you have a wonderful day.